All right. So on page 7 here, we're going to be combining all of our different methods together. So we're going to be doing more than one transformation. We'll do a translation, a slide with a rotation, or we'll do a reflection and then a translation. We're going to be putting these different methods together. Whatever we do for the first one, that's going to become my C prime D prime here on number 1. And then in the second part of it where it says then rotate C prime D prime, so I would get C double prime D double prime. Please make sure that if you are doing more than one transformation to a graph, as you move forward, after you do the first one, it's not going to be just prime for the second transformation and the third transformation. You have to do double prime or triple prime. Those primes on there are indicating how many times you have translated or reflected or rotated. All right, so the first piece of this up here, what in the world is that asking me to do? It says segment CD, and then it has an arrow, and this brackety thing with 2 numbers, and then it says segment C prime D prime. Yes. What we're seeing right here with this notation is that it wants us to do a translation. This is a slide. It's going to go right 8 and up 2. Because the first number is an 8, and that always tells me my left, right, my X. The second number is a positive 2. That's my up, down number. It goes with my Y. All right, so let's write down our ordered pairs. Where is point C right now? -5, 7. We want to shift that to the right 8, so we're going to add 8 to the -5, the X. And then we want to shift it up 2. So we are going to add 2 onto the Y part, the 7. What do we get when we add -5 and 8 together? We get 3. What about 7 and 2? You get 9. So C prime is 3, 9, right here. And that should match if I, instead of using the adding method, I just count over from this point C here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to the right, and then up 2. And I land in the exact same spot. So 3, 9 for C prime. Where is my point D currently? -3, 1. Same thing, we want to move it to the right 8 and up 2. So I'm going to add 8 to the -3, and I'm going to add 2 to the 1 there. What is -3 plus 8? 5. And 1 plus 2? 3. So 0.53 is where my point D prime is. Right here. And then you need to use a straight edge, which are on their way back right now, to sketch in that line segment. And that's what C prime, D prime should look like. But we are not done yet. We now need to rotate that about the origin clockwise 90 degrees. How many quadrants are we going to be moving? One quadrant. Which quadrant are we going to move into if I take this and I move clockwise? I'm going to move into quadrant 4. Right down here would be my 90 degrees clockwise. How do I do a rotation? One quadrant. Yep, we're going to switch X and Y. And then we're going to match our signs to the quadrant that we're landing in. So tell me about the signs down in quadrant 4. Are the X's positive or negative down in quad 4? X's are positive over here because we're on the right side of the graph. What about the Y's? The Y's are negative. So positive X's, negative Y's. We're going to take the XY and flip it around. This is quad 1, quad 2, quad 3, quad 4. So we're flip the ordered pair around. 9, 3 for C double prime. And 3, 5 for D double prime. But now I have to match my signs. I want the X's to be positive. Does that match right now? I want the Y's to be negative. Does that match? No. So I need to go in and make my Y's negative. So 9, negative 3. And 3, negative 5. Then I can go in and plot those points. 9, negative 3 would be right here. So there's my point C double prime. And 3, negative 5 would be right here. So there's D double prime. And then we connect those 2 points. All right, number 2. First, we're going to rotate, and then we're going to reflect. So let's do our rotation first. We're going to rotate this triangle about the origin 270 degrees clockwise. How many quads is that? 3 quads. 2 quads is 180. 3 quads is 270. So 3 quadrants. If I go 3 quadrants clockwise, that will move me into what quadrant? That's 3 quads, because this is quadrant 1. Yeah, it's going to move me into quadrant 3. We're going to go all the way around like this. That's 270 degrees clockwise. Remember, if you need a reminder on which direction is clockwise, you can always look up at my clock above the door. All of the hands move in a clockwise direction. So the second hand moves the fastest. You can look at the second hand, and that will show you what a clockwise direction is. So this is exactly the same as when we move 1 quadrant. We're going to switch X and Y. And then we will match our signs to the quadrant that we're landing in. Should my X's be positive or negative in that quadrant? Negative. Oh, both negative, yes. Negative X, negative Y. All right, so I need these ordered pairs for F, G, and H so that we can switch them and then match the signs. Where is point F? Negative 1, 4. Where's point G? Negative 4, 4. And where's point H? -5, 1. Okay, so we're going to take all of those and we're going to switch them. So when I switch F, that becomes 4, -1. When I switch G, that becomes 4, -4. And when I switch H, that becomes 1, -5. So we do our switching first, then we match our signs. You said we want the X's and the Y's to both be what? Negative. Are my X's and Y's all negative? Let's go make them all negative. -4, -1. -4, -4. -1, -5. And then we go plot our points. -4, -1 would be right here. So there's my F prime. -4, -4 would be right here. So there's my G prime. And -1, -5 would be right down here. That would be my H prime. Use my straight edge to connect those points, making our rotated triangle. All right, now what are we supposed to do? Yeah, we're going to reflect that triangle about the y-axis. When I reflect over an axis, what stays the same? In this case, it's going to be our y. It's whatever axis letter we're at, that part will stay the same. So y is going to stay the same. What happens to our x? Change the sign. So instead of all of my x's being negative, this is going to make all of my x's positive, but the y stays the same. So 4, -1, 4, -4, and 1, -5. 4, -1 would be right here. So there's my F double prime. 4, -4 is down here. There's my G double prime. And 1, -5 is down here. So that would be my H double prime. And then we grab a straight edge and connect those points to make our reflected triangle. Right. Let's look at number 3 now. Number 3, what's the first thing I need to do? Graph. Graph what? Graph segment ST. Yes, that's the first thing that they tell me to do. And they gave me the ordered pairs for S and for T right here. So -4, 8. Right here is my point S. -9, +2 would be right here. So there's my point T. And then we're going to connect those points, making our line segment ST. Now, we are going to take that and we are going to reflect that segment about x equals -1. And then we will graph our segment S prime, T prime. So to find x equals -1, you need to find -1 on the x-axis. And then you will go through -1 on the x-axis. So -1 on the x-axis would be right here. And to go through the x-axis means I have to go up and down. Other words, I'm just tracing on top of the x-axis. I want to cut through it. So like this. So we have a vertical line here. If I'm reflecting over that line, which parts of these ordered pairs will stay the same? The x will stay the same, so it's going to stay on the left side? No, then the x can't stay the same if I'm not staying on the left side. The y will stay the same. Our points aren't going to get any higher or any lower, so the y part will stay the same. The x part needs to be a mirror image of where it is currently sitting. So like point S right here, that's at -4, 8. I'm going to make a mirror image on the other side over here, so I need to figure out how far away from this line to go on the other side. So I figure out how far point S is from that line. How many hops would it take me to get from S over to that line? 3. So mirror image on the other side, 1, 2, 3. Right here would be my S prime. Where is that point for S prime? 2, 8. Make sure you're coming all the way down and reading it off of the x-axis. 2, 8. All right, now we're going to do the same thing with T. I need a mirror image, so I know it's going to end up over here somewhere since it is a reflection, but I need to figure out exactly where, which means I need to know how far away from that vertical line point T is. How far away is it? 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So to make a mirror image, I need to go the same distance on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right here. So there's my point T prime. At 7, 2, yes. And then I sketch in that line segment, oops, to get my reflected line segment. And now what does it want me to do? Rotate it 180 degrees. And then graph that segment, excuse me, as S double prime, T double prime. Why doesn't it tell me which way I'm going for 180 degrees? Because it doesn't matter. It's halfway around, and it doesn't matter whether I go to the left or to the right as I spin. If I'm going exactly halfway around, I get to the exact same spot. Does anybody remember our rule for how we do this? Yes. Change both signs. I do not do anything to the order. So I take my S prime, 2, 8. I change both signs. So -2, -8. -2, -8 is right down here. There's my S double prime. And then the same thing with T prime to get T double prime. What would T double prime be? -7, -2, -7, -2 would be right here. So there's my T double prime. Grab my straight edge and connect those 2 points to make my now rotated line segment. Notice I am exactly 2 quadrants away for my 180-degree rotation. For 180 degrees, for 2 quadrants, we don't do any switching. We just change the signs. Let's look at number 4. First thing I need to do now on number 4. Graph. Tells me the first thing I need to do is to graph triangle HIJ, and they've given me points for H, for I, and for J up here. 8, -4, right here, so there's my point H. 6, -1, right here, there's my point I. And 3, -5, right here, to get my point J. And then we connect those using our straight edge to get our original triangle. All right. We're going to take this and do what with it first? Reflect across y equals 2. Anytime I have x equals a number or y equals a number, this is going to be a straight line. I need to find 2 on the y-axis. So 2 on the y-axis, that's right here. And then we will go through 2 on the y-axis. If I'm going to go through the y-axis, I need to cut through it. This cannot be a vertical line. I need to go through it, so this is going to be a horizontal line. Right here is my line y equals 2. Just like we did before, we're going to need to count so that I can get my mirror image on the opposite side. I need to go the same distance away on the opposite side of the line to get this mirror image. So let's move, let's do point H first to get H prime. So I'm going to count from here to the line. Which piece of my ordered pair is going to change? The Y part is going to change because I'm moving up and down. How far away is H from that line? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Close. We were 6 away. So we're going to go 6 away on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So right here is H prime. 8, 8. Yes. Yes. All right, let's look at point I. How far away is point I from that line? 3. 1, 2, 3. So on the other side, 1, 2, 3. Right here is I prime. What is that ordered pair? 6, 5. And then we have point J. How far away is point J from that line? 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So on the other side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right here is my point J prime, which puts it at what ordered pair? 3, 9. And then we get to this next thing. It says map. And then it's got this weird stuff. What does this notation mean? Yes, we're going to change the x's by minusing 6 from them. We're going to change the y's by minusing 8 from them. This is a translation. Left 6 and down 8. You can either count that, or we can do some addition and some subtraction to get there. I know that h prime is 8, 8. I know that I prime is 6, 5. And j prime is 3, 9. So I'm going to come in here, and to all of these, we are going to minus 6 from the x and minus 8 from the y. Minus 6 from the x, minus 8 from the y, minus 6 from the x, minus 8 from the y. What would I get for my point h double prime then? 2, 0. I go right 2 on the x-axis, and I don't go up or down at all. So there's my h double prime. All right, what about I double prime? Where will that be? I'm sorry, you said what? 0 and not 3, but you're close. Negative 3. The negative is bigger than the positive. So this is going to be a negative number. 0, negative 3. So I don't go left or right at all. I go down 3. So right here. I double prime. And then the last one, we need j double prime. What is 3 minus 6? Negative 3. And 9 minus 8? So negative 3, 1. Negative 3, 1 would be right here. There's my j double prime, and then I grab my straight edge, and I connect those points to make the translated triangle. Ooh, I forgot to connect my points on j prime, h prime, I prime, so I need to go up there and do that too, so I don't leave it unfinished. Remember, if you leave it like this up here where you don't connect the dots, that will not get you full credit, so go back and double check to make sure that you have connected the dots for all of your translations, reflections, and rotations. Nice work. We are going to stop there for right now. Your homework that you just picked up on your way in the door isn't going to be due until Tuesday. Not due until Tuesday. The front side should look just like what we were working on. The back side, numbers 4 and 5, technically we can do that. You can also wait until after tomorrow because we're going to do some that don't have the graphs for practice tomorrow. But the bottom part of the back side from problems 6 through 14, wait until Monday to do that because that's when we will cover that lesson. So front side and numbers 4 and 5, you'll be able to do today and tomorrow. 6 through 14, you need to wait until after the lesson on Monday to finish that one up.